Hey everyone, it's Matt Vanacoro from Ask.Audio here, and we are checking out the Arturia Keylab 88. I'm going to be completely honest, when I heard I had to review another MIDI controller, I was like, blah, I've done so many. What could there possibly be new in this area or genre of musical instrument, but Arturia has really done a spectacular job. I found that not only was the Keylab 88 a fun piece to play, it is really a coveted piece of gear. It is wonderfully boutique, it feels great, and the included package of instruments are a lot of fun. Let's take a look. First of all, the keyboard itself, really well laid out in a nice simplistic fashion. We got some nice faders, 9 faders. And that's a big distinction for those of you that like to do the tone wheel organ thing. So it always drives me nuts when I see keyboard controller manufacturers only making them with 8 faders. You're missing one if you want to do some real legitimate B3 clone wheel type stuff. So we've got some drum pads, plenty of editable parameters. Everything about the Keylab 88 is editable. It feels really nice. It's got a really good feel to it. And the other thing I'm noticing is that it is pretty silent comparatively to a lot of my other keyboards that I play. So the keyboard itself feels very quiet. And I do a lot of reviewing and voiceover type stuff where that can be kind of annoying when you're doing production and recording keyboards. So actually, it was quite refreshing to see how quiet the Keylab was. So it feels really nice, a great piece, and it's pretty quiet in the studio. I was definitely excited to check out the integration of the software, and I've heard a lot about how programmable the keyboard itself was. So I took a look at the included MIDI Control Center software. Refreshing to see some software that looks this good and works this well. Every time I have to program a MIDI controller, it drives me nuts, bat-esque crazy when I have to look up or look at some sort of weird graphical representation of the keyboard. I've always gone, why can't we just have a picture of the real keyboard? And I can't believe it's taken a company this long to do it. But thank you, thank you, thank you, Arturia, for making a MIDI programmer that has a nice, high resolution, beautiful photograph of the actual piece of gear that you're working with. And it highlights it in red anytime you're going over a control that you want to edit. So it was real simple for me right away. My sustain pedal was inverted, so I just clicked on sustain pedal, switched the off and on values. Anytime you want to map something to a different MIDI control, you just click it, go ahead and do it, and then tap the store button and you store it right to the device itself. So it was a very elegant system, and the window resizes with you as well, so you're not stuck with one window size. So the graphic will dynamically resize, all the information dynamically resizes. It's a small thing, but that type of um, that type of workflow thing can really put a damper on your desire to program. It's no fun programming when you're using an interface that looks like it was, typed up on a Commodore 64 or some sort of old archaic um, programming device. Center, I was interested to take a look at the bundled instruments. I'll just highlight 2 of them really quick. So if I get out of MIDI Control Center, we'll take a look at Piano Tech, which is a pretty basic version of Piano Tech, but it's a really wonderful piano instrument. And your controls and sliders are already pre-mapped. So you've got these faders that are adjustable to the mallet bounce parameters. You've got some of these P knobs, the controls that are, your reverb mix, your effect mix, your dynamic articulation. Everything is already pre-mapped, so you can just cycle through the piano patches and tweak as you like right on the Keylab. So I really like that it was already set up for me when I opened it up. If you are not a Piano Tech user, it's definitely something you should check out. Also, let's have a look at the included Analog Lab synth. And I really liked this. Another perfect example of a company that's really good at marrying hardware and software worlds together. And a couple of little tweaks on here that I hope people will take note of and start integrating into their programming as well. So right now we're taking a look at the live mode. You can easily see what is mapped to what. And on the keyboard itself, it's telling me what loaded multi I have. So in live mode, I just switch and I can go from any of the sounds I want. It's very responsive and everything is mapped out. But one of the cool things that I really like is the way that the faders will respond. So you see when I touch them, there's a little ghost because I've got it in the mode that I've got to cross over into the fader before it affects it. So in other words, I don't get a jump in sound when I'm adjusting the VCA delay or the VCA decay. If I slide this down, it doesn't all of a sudden jump to my current value. When I go down and pass it, it picks it up and then moves with me. But an amazing feature is that you can see comparatively where you are, how far you have to travel before it latches to that. That's a really great feature, and I really hope that they integrate that, that other companies kind of take notice of that and integrate it because it's really, really helpful. As I switch patches, I see, well, there's my slider, but that's where the default value is down there. So I slide it down to it, it picks it up, and then it travels with it. So the included sound set is very nice. It's a great, really looks nice visually, but it's just really simple to use. You can go through and pick all the different instruments from Arturia's Modular 5, from all sorts of different sound designers, and you just simply go into live mode and you can drag and drop presets, and it's that simple. I mean, once you've dropped it in there, you just hit 4 on the keyboard and you're playing that sound. And those are multis, so they're layered sounds, and you can easily delete by clicking right there. So the integration of the software and the hardware is great. I can even pop open the chord pads, and I can use those drum pads as chord pads. You can quickly reconfigure any chord that you want. So A2, what octave you want it in, whether you want it to be minor or major. It's really refreshing and pretty simple to program. So again, it's like you can tell that keyboard players who use MIDI controllers have designed this instrument and the software. It's a pleasure to work with, and it has a real boutique feel to it. It really is a beautiful looking and feeling instrument. So 2 thumbs up on the Keylab 88 from Arturia.